29th of May, and it's 6 p.m. UK time. For those who don't know me, I'm a therapist and coach. And I come here in my free time a couple of times a week on YouTube to talk about anything to do with mental health, therapy, psychology, mindfulness, and all those things that we can use to enhance the quality of life with. Now, very importantly, disclaimer, I am not giving professional advice throughout the live stream. I'm not just sharing some thoughts and giving some suggestions because this is not a professional setting, so I can't do this. I need to know the person, to have the history of them, to be able to see them and hear them and focus myself 100% on them. And so I will do my best to give you some actionable recommendations, but they are not professional advice. Okay. Today is still very hot in the UK, so I don't know how it's going to go, whether it's going to be busy or not. But I'm going to start the live stream by just sharing some of my thoughts, and hopefully at some point some of you will ask me some questions and we can get the conversation rolling. I've just created a post that I will post sometime next week, and I wanted to just share with you what I've written as a starter, and it goes like this. It's a very important perspective because just that could help a lot of us, and it's about the fact that we actually have more choices than we think we do. We just look in the wrong places. And so it goes like this. You can't choose the state of the world, but you can choose the state of your mind. You can't choose people's opinions of you, but you can choose whether or not to give them time, importance, and airplay. You can't choose people's behavior, but you can choose boundaries. You can't choose people's limiting belief, mindset, and mental state, but you can choose compassion. You can't choose what happened to you, but you can choose to learn and grow from it. You can't choose your reactions, but you can absolutely choose to upgrade your subconscious emotional program over time. And finally, you can't choose your past, but you can choose today. Unless you are in a state of survival, at any given point, you have choices. You have power, you have agency. And the only reason you suffer is because you keep looking in all the wrong places. So this is, again, a very simple exercise of shifting our perspective. It's not easy, but it's simple. And if you can realize that everything about our mental health, everything about our reality, everything about our life is just a matter of perspective, then we know where to get started to change and upgrade any aspect of our life. Genji, hello Didi, how are you doing today? I'm very well. How about you? Since last week, have you rescued any more turtles or any more little creatures? CTRPLR and heart emojis. Thank you. Thank you. What would you like me to talk about today? And have a bit of coffee until some inspiration or some question arise. Genji, that was not me who rescued the turtle. Oh, sorry, my apologies. It was Pumpkin Puff, probably. And there was someone else, I think Dawn, who rescued a bee. So Genji, did you rescue something lately? Did you rescue any little creatures in distress and need of help? We were having that conversation last time because the previous times someone told me that they were overwhelmed because they saw some roadkills regularly whenever they went back home, and that broke their hearts. So I said to them, something that you can do is to do something about it. I'm not sure what, but think about switching your mindset, and instead of looking at things from a disempowered and helpless state, see if there's something that you could do about it. And just the thought of this already shifted the energy that you feel about that thoughts, because now you're thinking maybe I can do something about it. And the beautiful news is that the last time I went live, which was Wednesday, then that person came back and told me that they have rescued indeed a turtle. And I think it's glorious, it's beautiful, it's amazing. And on the back of that, someone else said they also rescued a bee. And so it always makes me happy. It's not just animals and insects, people, of course, as well. But we can do so much more than contemplating the state of the world and feeling bad about it. We don't always have a choice of action, but at least we can choose the mindset. And at some point, if you have that mindset, then when the opportunity arises, then we can spot that opportunity and we can take that action. This is how we change the world. Genji, that wasn't me. Yeah, I read that. Genji, haha, no, sadly, or not so sadly, not. It's okay. Have you rescued yourself sometime this week? Genji, I love that you do remember a lot about the many people that you talk to on top of your clients. I do think a lot about all sorts of things. My mind is constantly going, and I have the most random memories out of nowhere. And I like it because I entertain stimulating thoughts. The thoughts that are distressing, that used to be problematic to me, I know now how to let go of them. We can choose our thoughts. Originally, when they first arise in our head, we don't choose them. Thoughts are just like energies that flow around, that comes from the inside out, from the outside in. But when we have thoughts that are problematic, we can just let it go. And if we suffer from those thoughts, it's because we can't let it go. It's because we have decided to attach ourselves to those thoughts. And so, in that sense, we can choose better thoughts by letting go of the problematic one to make space for the better ones. But I think it's something that people don't talk about enough. The thoughts that we have, originally, the first thought that comes all the time, they are subconscious and they are not chosen. We don't choose our thoughts. We like to believe that we create thoughts from our brain, and it's not like that. Uh, if anything, we have some thoughts happening again because of our program, our subconscious program, because of our belief system, because of what we believe we are, what we should be doing at that time of the day, and how we should react to everything and anything in life. And so, because of that, we have some things that are happening in our body and in our mind, and they are feelings and thoughts. But they are happenings. Um, we only choose our thoughts when. Let me phrase it like that. The choice that we have is limited by our program. So I have created a video not long ago with that analogy that I came up with. We don't choose our thoughts. We choose a selection of thoughts, but that selection we don't choose that selection. So basically, the analogy is that if you go in a restaurant, you choose your meal from a menu, but you don't choose the menu. And this is very much the same with our thoughts. We love to believe that we have the choice of things, but that choice is limited based on what we believe we can choose from, based on what we believe is available to us, based on what we believe is important to us, and what we can or cannot have. And so, on the back of that, I was watching a video from Bruce Lipton, one of the guys that I've been following for many years, and he was talking about how whenever we think we're actually in a state of we are in a subconscious state because we are basically entertaining the thought that were already put into place by our subconscious mind. So that was a bit puzzling to me. So I spent some time thinking about it, and it actually makes sense. Um, I used to think if you think thoughts, then you are conscious. But it's not like that. If you are caught into your train of thoughts, you are still in a subconscious state. You break from that subconscious state when you're observing your thoughts. So that's the difference. It's about metacognition. A lot of people now are talking about it on social media. And metacognition is the ability to think about your own thoughts, as opposed to just experiencing them as if they were your thoughts coming from you. You're experiencing them from the outside. You're observing your own thoughts. And these are basically the principles of mindfulness and meditation. But a lot of people on social media have been lately, I have noticed, talking about it like the ultimate stage of intelligence is metacognition. I don't know what they mean by that, because for me, intelligence means something totally different. I believe that we all have some level of metacognition, but it's about whether or not we're going to have an awareness that it's something that we can develop, that we can expand. Um, we all can observe our thoughts every now and then. But now the difference is that some of us, we've done some work on ourselves, and we understand that we can change any aspect of our life by upgrading our belief system through the process of metacognition. It's not just that, it's just one of the elements. We want to do the same with our emotions and feelings in our body. And ultimately, as we change our habits of thoughts and our habits of emotions, we'll be changing our sense of self. What I talk about often is how there was one principle that we must know in order to change anything about life, is that one thing. Everything about our reality is down to how we see ourselves in this world. That's it. It is that simple. Again, it's not easy. We are vastly intricate and complicated, but this is pretty much how the gig goes. So let me see. There are some comments here. Genshi, I've had a weird day. I've been on and off. Thank you for the little hearts. I've been on and off, and I couldn't go on my walk because it's pouring. So I worked out to help change my mindset. Okay, did it work? Adam Lucas. Hello, Adam Lucas. Is a lot of modern therapy considered to be financially gate kept? Since many who might need therapy the most struggle to access it due to being poor or are forced to try to just do it alone. So the problem is not that therapy is gate kept. The problem is capitalism. Everything is gate kept. It's not that some people who need the most mental health help, they also need to pay their rent. They need to pay their food. They need to pay education for the kids. They need to make sure that they can stay in their house the next week. This is the discrepancy between people who are rich and poor. This is capitalism. It's not about just mental health, it's about everything. Um, and it's true that people who are living in the lower tier of the financial spectrum in society, they suffer the most from mental health problems because the system is designed as such. People need to have all of those people to be in a state of suffering and reactivity and overwhelm all the time, because this is how they control them. This is precisely how we can manipulate them, get them to feel or to believe or to do anything at all. And so it's true. If you're just going to focus on that, it's true that people who need the most mental health help are if you look at the volume of it, are people who are coming from a poor background. However, the truth of the matter is that everyone needs some help. And if there's a problem to address, it's not the fact that people are charging too much. The problem is capitalism itself. I charge a lot myself. However, I understand that there are all sorts of different people who need all sorts of different help, and I do first something that I feel is right for me. And so my time, my effort, my expertise, the energy that I invest for each client is very, very. It takes a lot of me. So that's why I charge so much. However, I come also here and I give advice, suggestions for free twice a week. And this is my way to give back to everyone else. There are many different ways to find help. Some of us will seek therapy. Some of us will read books. Some of us will learn about yoga, meditation, mindfulness. Some of us will learn about some spiritual awakening. Some of us will do also there are millions of things we can do. Some of us will go on a trip all over the world. Some of us will, I don't know. There's something for everyone. Now, therapy is indeed something that is a bit problematic because there's no regulation. And so there are all sorts of people out there. And the reason why there's no regulation is not because it's the wild, wild west. It is because it is still new. We're still trying to find out to understand what it is about. It's only been the last 25 years, but now we have systems that make sense, that are useful, that work, that do help and transform people. Before that, everything that was about mental health professionals was rubbish. It was toxic. It was very bad to people, even in the 1990s. And so things are still evolving. Even in the last, I don't know, 15 years, so much has changed. If only for the for the existence of TikTok through the pandemic that has really raised an awareness of so many problems to a whole new generation. And so things are changing. And so because of that, you have also systems that are constantly changing, evolving, merging different things together. Like the system that I use, RTT, is a system that exists on the back of other systems, like any other systems anyway. Nothing comes out of nowhere. Every single protocols of therapy needs an understanding of the mind, and they need an understanding of mindfulness. And the way we're going to go about it is basically how we're going to use the different elements of the recipe. Think about a system or protocol like a recipe. The ingredients are pretty much the same, but the chef will decide how, when, in which proportion to mix all of those things, and this will create the magic. And so, yeah. But I do understand what you mean. It's true that when it comes to therapy, um, it can be problematic also because since there is no regulation and everyone is trying their best, you not only you have some people who are not very good at what they do, despite their best intentions, but also some people are very good at what they do, but they have no means to prove it because your qualifications are only one side of the equations. Some people are academic and they know nothing, and they're terrible people, and they're terrible therapists, and but there are still some of them are coming from a good place, some of them are not coming from a good place, and it goes the same with people who have no academia, like me. And so it's about finding someone with whom you can connect with emotionally and with whom whatever they say seems to make sense to you. And if you have the, the, the understanding that that system makes sense to you and the emotional connection with the person, now you can get started on something. Because in reality, when we start a journey of healing, there's not one system that is better than others. There's only the system that will work for you at this point in time. So it's for you to go through your journey. As I said before, there are many different ways. I changed a lot in my life because of a miracle, because of luck. So I believe in luck. I don't count on it. I don't rely on it. I don't advise people to wait for luck to happen. But it does exist. And so I never want to be the guy who is going to say, unless you work with me, you're never going to heal. Unless you use that system, unless you follow that program, you're never. Because it's rubbish, it's not true. Anything can happen. And also, we need to realize and accept that we're here in this life to live our life. And so there's a lot of different, again, angles to look at it from. Um, does that answer your comment, Adam? Since many who might need therapy the most struggle to access it due to being poor or forced to try to just do it alone. A lot of people with money, they don't seek help either. Like it's all sort of things exist. We tend to generalize and compartmentalize and come to conclusions. And you'll be surprised for just some big guideline based on some templates that seems logical. But in reality, anything goes. And we keep on looking in the wrong place. The problem is capitalism. And until the system changes, we need to do our best to survive within that system. Again, it's not this or that. Genji, I'm feeling like I'm a bit of a failure again. I once again heard your voice in my head telling me to get up, cry, breathe, etc. So I did. Okay, so my voice is in your head. That's a good thing. As long as that voice is telling you some good stuff, I hope. Dawn, hello Didi. Hello Dawn, how are you today? The Cure 7, how to draw the line to thinking too much about own thoughts. The problem is not whether we think too much or not. The problem is what the process of thinking does to us, is how we feel about it. The too much is what we need to define. I think all the time. My brain never stops because I have ADHD or other stuff. And I used to suffer from that. But now I don't suffer from it anymore because I understand how it works. And so I choose good thoughts. And every now and then, if needs be, whenever I feel like it, I do practice mindfulness and meditation, and I can create um, a break from that storm of thoughts and ideas. But the problem is not the volume of it, the problem is the quality of it. And so, as with everything, nothing that we do is inherently good or bad. It is how we feel about it. It is how it's affecting us emotionally that will determine whether it's too much or not enough, or wrong in any which way. So, do you want to tell me more about this? What do you mean by thinking too much? Maybe the conversation is actually different than how you phrased it. User VV9 said hi. Hello. Adam Lucas. No, I read that. Adam Lucas. Is courage a skill? How could someone overcome the fears and doubts around pursuing a goal or life change? For example, wanting to travel to a country, but there's self-doubt and fear around the future. So, okay, let's address this. Let's break this down. Is courage a skill? Everything is a skill. However, whether that skill is required or not depends on myriads of things. Again, it depends on your context. If you live in a state of fear, then courage is a skill that will help you overcome the fear within that stage. However, the next stage, if you can get there, is to realize that there's nothing to fear. And then courage becomes irrelevant, becomes obsolete. There's no point to have courage if you realize that there's no fear in the first place. And so everything is contextual. If you live in fear, courage will be helpful to you as a skill for you to learn and develop. But if you are at a stage in your life when you realize that there's no fear, then courage means nothing. It only within the context of fear. Doesn't make sense. It's like strength. People believe that they must be strong as long as they believe that they must fight against some things in their life. If they believe that life is a battlefield, I have to be strong. But if you realize that you can get to a stage where things get better and easier, you don't need to be strong. You just want to be happy. It is that simple. The more people are obsessed with being strong or brave or things, the more it is demonstrating how they are still struggling with many fears that are sadly shared by so many in society. And it doesn't have to be like this. Now, next point. How could someone overcome the fear and doubts around pursuing a goal or life change? By addressing the belief about it. If you have a fear or a doubt about something that you want to upgrade in your life, it's because there's a part of you that believes that that thing is dangerous, or and it believes that you are not able to do that. You are not good enough to make this happen. So you address the belief. You find out what is the belief that I have about myself. Why for other people it's easy for them to change their life, but not for me? Why is it easy for them to travel around the world, but I feel bad about it? What's wrong within my system? What do I need to upgrade? What is it about me that prevents me from feeling excited and carefree about doing that thing? So this is how we overcome the fears. Right? Next point. For example, wanting to travel to a country with there's self-doubt and fear around the future. Yes. So the self-doubt and the fear about the future is about your future or the future of the country. Can you be more detailed, please? I would love to pursue that conversation, but if you can give me more, that would be very helpful. Ganji, it did help. Ah, fantastic. The feeling came out of nowhere, honestly. I was listening to some different music and maybe that had something to do with it. Okay. What music was it, please? What sort of music do you listen to that gets you to think about my voice? Pumpkin Puff. Hi, Didi. How are you feeling today? I'm great. You were the one who rescued the turtles. The turtle, isn't it? Could you confirm this? Because I was talking about Genji. I misremembered, and I thought it was them. And I think it's you, right? Which is still a story that I love thinking about. I think it's marvelous. Dawn, not great, Didi. Lots of issues. Thanks for asking. Do you want to share your issues with us? Do you want to relieve yourself, to let go of that pressure by speaking it out? Sometimes talking about some of the problems with the right people in the right way can really make you feel better. Because now you are no longer internalizing those things into your body and into your mind. You are letting it out. It's like letting steam out of a pressure cooker, which is why it's so important to talk to people about our problems, as in having some good friends, some people who understand us and who can listen to us without judgment. Don't care about that. Genji, yes, it's always good things when I hear you in my head. It's very much like the good side, in bracket you, versus the bad side, my mind. It does cause me to actually fix the problem versus sit and suffer. Okay, fantastic. Okay. So instead of thinking me good and your mind bad, think about the good You can have me, and I'm honored and flattered with that. But there's a lot of parts of you that can be in the good side, because ultimately you have the power. But also in the bad side, it's not you. It is the voices from the people in your past that have hurt you. They are the bad voices, not you. They are not you. Maybe you want to do that distinction the next time. Pumpkin Puff. Yes, it was the turtle. I was the turtle saver. Yes. I still look out for them to make sure they don't get back on the road. Fantastic. So now you have created a new system that is going to remind you every day of your power. Every day when you drive, you can look, I'm the turtle rescuer. You can have a Teenage Mutant Turtle Ninja t-shirt or whatever. and you can even start a Facebook group or something like that. Let's save the little animals from the evil cars on the road. And then you'll be surprised. You can create a movement. But if you can raise awareness, tell your story. I do this every day. I said that turtle. I will make sure that in the future I'm always a step ahead if I see anything at all. You may actually inspire others to do the same. Some people do that another time. They even eventually managed to change the law somehow because of the size the movement has taken. You'd be surprised how things happen. Um, I can't remember which country, but there are countries. I don't know if it's in Scandinavia or Japan or places like that, where they have some tunnel and bridges for wildlife only, and I think it's amazing that some people can do that. But it probably came up from someone like you who first started to worry about roadkills. So well done. Thank you, Pumpkin Puff. Genji, I was on TikTok and Drag Path came on. What is Drag Path? It's a trendy song, and I guess it made me think, which made me sad. Okay. So is it the song Drag Path that made you think of me? I love Drag Race, but I'm surprised that you're associating me with drags somehow. I didn't think that I would have that sort of vibe. I don't mind it, but I really didn't see myself as such. It made me think, which made me sad. You know what? I'm going to Google it. I'm going to go on YouTube. Drag Path. 21 Pilots. Is it the one? 3 days ago on the American Music Award. So there's some ads, obviously. Need to wait for the ads. That song? You found me. Then I know you're also found. Okay, so alternative song. Okay, I listened to it later on. I thought it was more like a drag song, like RuPaul's Drag Race kind of song. I was surprised why this sort of music would make you sad or think of me. Van Mina, yes, in France too, in some places. You're talking about the underpass and the bridges for animals. Fantastic. I didn't realize this. I was born in France, but I left a long, long time ago. I've been living in London for, I think, 29 years now, nearly. So I don't know much what's going on in France anymore. Dawn, trying to fight on. Okay, okay. If you feel like sharing anything that you have in your heart, please do so. Anything at all. Genji, it's from 21 Pilots. Yes, I found out. Aha, it wasn't exactly what made me think of you. Okay. Genji, I hear you when my mind wants to beat me up. Genji, like you're coming to save me. All right. Genji, yes, it's a sort of sad song. All right, I'll check it out later. I found it. Dawn, I think social media and phones can cause a lot of mental health issues. Everything can cause a lot of mental health issues. The most problematic things when it comes to mental health issues is our belief system. And the belief system that we have is down to our upbringing, to our parents, to society, to education, to culture, to everything. And so this is only one of the things that exists within that world. But it's not the phones, it's not the social media, any more than it is because of the religion or anything else at all. Those things, they exist. And the problem is not those things. The problem is that there are some people that are going to use those things to manipulate, exploit others, exploit their fear, exploit their mental health problems. And so the problem is not the thing, the problem is the people. And those people, they suffer and they do this because of a poor understanding of the mind and the way society has been designed to condition us and to condition us up to this point. So, is it true that social media and phones can create problems? Yes, absolutely. It can be very addictive. And for some of us, if you have a propensity for addiction, we're going to be absolutely engulfed, trapped into that thing. But in and of itself, it's not a problem. People are demonizing it because they want us to look in the wrong place. The wrong place is the people who are allowing for this to be done in a certain way to affect people negatively. Again, the same example that I give is religion. Religion in and of itself, there's nothing wrong about it. The problem is when people use it badly to control and exploit other people. There's a bigger picture than looking at the culprit. Because we live in stress and distress and discomfort and fear, we need to have a system that gives us an illusion of control. And so what is that illusion of control? It is shortcuts. We're going to generalize things, we're going to zoom in. Everything is either good or bad. People are either good or bad. There's a list of things that is going to demonstrate whether or not you are good or bad. And that gives us an illusion of control. And now the press, the media are going to get us to be very angry at social media. They're telling us that it's all bad. But what they don't tell us is that in the background, in secret, it is the government that pays those things to happen. They're giving us some goodies and some baddies so that we can have a narrative about this existence. And it's all orchestrated by them. It's all a bunch of lies. Yeah. It's a subject that I can really talk about in a long length. But it's the same thing with people who are very angry at immigrants, very angry at the Mexicans in America or the boat people in the UK. People are very angry at trans people. Because the media and society is giving people a narrative of who's the baddies, who's the goodies. Just like in the good older times, in medieval times when people witch hunted and burn them at the stake. They have to have someone to sacrifice, someone to punish, so that it makes sense to them. And social media and phones is the same. It's just a thing. The real problem is some people. Would you agree with that, Dawn? Pumpkin puff. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Nature crossings, I think, is what they are called. Okay. Pumpkin puff. I was thinking a lot about it, but something that I should be doing, but I think I currently wouldn't really be able to handle that stress constantly. You don't need to, this is the thing. The stress comes from the perspective at which you're looking at it from. So if you look at it from, I need to do everything, it's got to be perfect, I need to do it every day. Now, yes, you will create stress for yourself. But if you think about it like it's a project, whenever I have time, whenever I have energy, whenever I feel like it, I will do something about it to push that thing a bit further. No pressure, no stress, no problem. Easy peasy, piece of cake. You can make it easy. It doesn't have to be stressful at all, not at all. But it's for you to set your boundaries. I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm going to listen to my body and how I feel. Do I want to do more today? Or do I want to do something else? Is it too much? Should I choose to do something else right now? You learn how to orchestrate your days by listening to your body, by listening to how you feel, by listening to your intuition. And just like that, you never need to stress about anything that you do. It's a skill that you can develop, of course, but it is a skill that you can develop. Thank you for the little heart. J Cloud, do you have a mic? The audio is not the best, but I think the Wi-Fi also is at fault. The little combo of your brother. I have those comments every day. I had it last time as well. So guys, people who know me, people that I trust and know, could you confirm that you can hear me well, please? And if you can't hear me well, I will get back to your comment, J Cloud. But I know that there's a lot of people online who love manipulating people and get them to check the mic and the sound because it entertains them because they're bored or I don't know what it is. And so if there's a real issue, guys, let me know. And if not, maybe it's on your end, or maybe you're not coming from the best place. This is how I would phrase it. Like, in which case, I would dismiss your interactions. Genji, it's not bad for me to hear your advice. I know that I have the tools to help myself since we have talked so long. Yes, my husband and I, even in arguments, will say, "What would Didi tell us to do?" Fantastic, thank you. Remember, again, they're just suggestions and recommendations, right? Now I start all of my live streams with a disclaimer. I am not giving professional advice during the live streams because it's not possible to do this within those capacities. And so it's just me sharing some suggestions and recommendations. Pumpkin. But I'm glad that those suggestions and recommendations are still helping out. Pumpkin Puff. I like that idea of no pressure, but still being able to help. The world feels like it's on fire, so I do want to help. Yes, but you have experience already being able to rescue one turtle the other day made you feel amazing. Suddenly you had power, suddenly you have hope, inspiration. You felt so much better than just staring at the roadkill along the road. Right? And this is basically the direction you want to go towards. You started it already. Keep going. Spiraxis, hi Didi. Hope you are well. I would like to ask your advice on dealing with trolls in your life. Okay, sure. I deal with them on the live streams every time I come here. In life, it's the same. You basically you see them, and then depending on the situations, you can set boundaries, or you're just going to ignore them. It's very simple. The world is full of people, and it's not that people are good or bad. People are in different state and different stages in their life. I used to be very toxic to people. We didn't call it troll back then, but I used to be a terrible, pathetic human being because I used to be so hurt, so angry. I would feel that I would need to hurt others, like some people who are called trolls nowadays. They do this because they're bored, so they're trying to annoy people. Typically, they will give a compliment. I love what you do, but I can't hear what you say, or something like that. And what we want to do is to do whatever is easy for us to do in this moment. I can call them out. It's easy for me. But I can dismiss them, or I need to set boundaries if that's needed. That's it. It's very simple. Either in real life or on social media, it's the same system. Um, I would like to ask your advice on dealing with trolls in your life. It feels like they come to harvest joy. I find it hard not to feel drained, even if I don't react outwardly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. In life, there will always be trolls. There will always be all sorts of people, some good, some bad people, or some people who are just doing their best and they happen to be in that state in that moment. We're not all good or all bad. We're just doing whatever we can based on where we are at this point in time in our journey. And so realize that all of these people, they exist everywhere constantly. If they hurt you, it's because you are allowing them in your life. Do like me. Notice them, tell them, you know what? I think I saw you. If I realize that you are someone that is coming from a bad place, I'm just going to ignore you. I wish you all the best, but we're not going to spend time anymore together because we're not on the same wavelength. I don't get angry. I don't take it personally. I'm not annoyed, but I just want to make sure that I'm going to optimize my day. So this is unnecessary for me, and at the same time, it will also be beneficial for the troll because now that will give them a chance maybe to do something else um, rather than keeping trapped to that habit of trying to feed from other people's reactions to find some sort of validation in their existence. Um, and so, do you want to share with me what sort of trolling you're talking about in your context? How do you experience them? Do you often feel bullied by people at work or sort of things? Do you attract narcissists? J Cloud Cloud. Ah, that's you. For some reason, the audio just got a lot better. Is it true? I would love to send you a mic if that's all right. I have one that has fantastic reviews. Maybe. Who knows? People can be very cunning, but at the same time, I don't want to be cynical. So maybe you're right. Maybe you mean it. But my intuition is telling me, I'm not sure about this, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because there are so many different people. You know, people are just people. What matters is why we react to some people. and what sort of people we should spend more time thinking about. Adam Lucas, does wealth and power disconnect people from empathy and nuance? Okay, I'll get back to it. It's a good question. Why do so many who get involved with attaining power or wealth end up getting corrupted or greedy or self-centered? Okay, so basically, wealth and power are just a thing. We're talking about phone, social media, religion. It's the same thing. It's just a thing. Whether that thing is going to affect us positively or negatively is down to us. And so, a very simple way that I can explain this is that money, for instance, just money on itself, is not good nor bad. It's an amplifier. And it's the same thing with power and success and fame. It's going to amplify who we are already. That's it. So now, very often we see some people who are making a lot of money, being very famous, having a lot of power, and we're thinking, oh, they are greedy, they are corrupted. But it's not because of the money or the power, it's because of their attitude to it from the get go. Some people, they have the idea that their life is empty without money or power. So they are doing everything in their power to get there, to have the status, to have the wealth, to have the control on others. Um, and it's their journey, it's their baggage, it's their problem to deal with. But because of that, they sacrifice their whole happiness to get there. And more often than not, they don't find the happiness because happiness is a whole different conversation. And so we want to dissociate. It's not because of money or power that people become bad. If people are bad as they can get those things, it's because they were already corrupted from the beginning. They already had limiting belief about themselves, and they suffer from that. Um, and again, money and power or anything else that just amplify us. They give you more ability to express who you already are. And so some people, if they win the lottery, they can be stupid, or they can be evil, or they can be amazingly kind and helpful and generous to others. And power is the same thing. So power, a lot of people who are powerful are toxic, but also some are very good as well. Now, the reason why we see more toxicity than positive is because there are many different ways to look at it. On one hand, we are negativity biased. So we need to notice and highlight the bad ones because they're the ones who hurt us, who annoy us, who we don't like. So our mind is going to basically put a spotlight on them. And now we think that everyone who's at the top, they're all bad. And it's not true. But maybe there's a truth in the sense that there's a majority of them that are bad. But again, it's not because they're bad. It's because the system is designed in such a way, capitalist system, that the people who lack empathy pathologically are the ones who can get to the top easily, more easily and faster. That's right. And so there are different ways to look at that. Does it help, Adam? Adam, even when starting with good intentions. So there's a difference between a cognitive good intentions and your emotional wounds. Some people may think I'm going to do this, but then when we get there, they still have some unhealed wounds that will express themselves through their life in many different ways, through their behavior. Uh, but again, it's not that will be because of the discrepancy between that mind and that mind. And this is one thing that we also suffer from. We forget that we are creatures of emotions and feelings that are ruled by emotional mind or body. But we like to think that we're in control of things and that what we think matters, and it doesn't. We all know this. We all know but there are things that we want to do in our life, and yet we can't do them because our body disagrees with it. We all know that there are things that we want to stop, but we can't stop doing them because knowing is the realm of that mind, whereas feeling, accepting, being is what your emotional mind is about. And that's why you say even starting with good intentions, because the good intentions happens here, but they may not be aware of their own emotional baggage. I hope it makes sense. Thank you for the little heart. Genji, I think it's been like 2 years since I first ran into you. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy that you're still here after all that time. You're not bored of me just yet. We've met on TikTok, didn't we? And then you followed me on YouTube. Don't toxic trolls, did he? Yes, I mean, there are all sorts of people, and it's true we can be toxic, but we can create systems to avoid them. We can set boundaries, like with that guy, whatever, J Cloud. For me, I can really feel that they're a troll, but I don't mind. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. And I just talk to them. They're probably gone a long time ago now because they can see that they have no control over me. So we need to find someone else to get reactions from them. Uh, but it is that simple. Um, Adam Lucas, what makes some day? But I understand if you are in a state of overwhelm and distress, for you, your whole nervous system is going to be on a hyper focus of the bad guys. I get it. I totally get it. I'm just showing you that at some point, hopefully, when things get easier and kinder for you, you'll be able to realize what I can realize now because I was in your state as well. I understand. Sometimes I forget. Adam Lucas, what makes some dating dynamics or creating friendships become based on transaction only? Or what can you do for me, entertain me, make me laugh, give me things, etc.? Or one-sided relationship? So again, it depends. There's no ultimate description or, or manual of relationships because we are complicated enough as it is. When it comes to relationships, now there's another bunch of complication coming into that equation. So now we have double trouble, and everything is going to be exponentially more complicated. And so, uh, what matters is not how to avoid certain things or how to make things happen. What matters is why you think about it. And so, when it comes to dating, change your philosophy of it, change the way you look at it. You're not in there to find the treasure, the special one person with whom you're going to stay your whole life with. You date because you are a human being and you need to learn about social interactions and you need to learn about you as a human being through relationships with other people. So think about it like lessons, journeys that you share with others. And so you will learn some all sort of things with people. Some people will give you some lessons that are pleasant. Some people will give you some lessons that are unpleasant. If are still lessons about yourself. Um, and also transactions only, it depends what perspective you look at it from. If you think about looking at things from a cynical perspective, indeed everything is transactional. Nothing is not transactional. Whatever that you do is always because you want to get something out of that thing that you're doing with that person. So it may not be tangible, it may not be materialistic, but it may be something that you, how you feel about yourself when you're doing some things for others. It's like people pleasing. People who are pleasing others. People from the outside may say, those people, they are selfless. They do it for others. It's not true. They do things that looks like they're doing it for others, but they do it because it makes them feel better. It makes them feel safer. It makes them feel like they're a good person. So they get something out of it. They get a kick out of it. They do benefit from people pleasing. And so everything that we do is somehow transactional, right? And this is what I want to say. It's okay. There's no shame, there's no bad. You must just accept that indeed there's an exchange. If you're going to a relationship, you want to exchange, you want to give and you want to take. That's an exchange, right? You want to share some memories, you want to create some things, you want to discover some things about yourself. And they're all an exchange. And so there is a shift of transactions, and it's okay. The problem is that we are demonizing the stuff. People are coming from a bad place, and it may be true in some cases, but what matters is why we are thinking that foot. I hope it makes sense. Um, Now, the way you want to address this is based on how you feel. If you feel that they are taking the mickey, they are just taking, and you are not getting anything out of it, then you need to sit down, you need to talk to them, but also you need to have some level of self-awareness. If you don't feel happy about something that you're allowing, ask yourself, why am I allowing this? Again, I often talk about this. We don't suffer from bad things. We suffer because more often than not, we're allowing those bad things to stay for a longer time than needed. We don't suffer from bad people. We suffer from our inability to avoid them or to let go of them. We don't suffer from bad thoughts. We suffer from our attachment to them, and so on and so forth. Um, Dawn, as they say, the love of money is the root of all evil. I disagree with that. For me, I understand where you're coming from, and I used to believe that as well. But this is just things that people say to condition them, to hypnotize them, to make them believe so. Because money is not bad at all. Money is great. If you have money, you have a roof, you get food, you get clothes, you can travel, you can buy things to people, you can help people in need. You can do so much with money. Money is not bad at all. What is bad is how some people may get infatuated because they have some limiting belief about scarcity and poverty and money. The problem is not the money in itself. Money is just money. It doesn't care. It's got no feelings. And the way that I see it is that money is the root of all evil, was born probably from religious scripts like the Bible, um, amongst others. And that's because they wanted to control people precisely. They wanted them to live in shame of things, unhappiness. Um, and the way that I see it is that when people say money doesn't buy happiness, it is literally a mantra that was invented by the rich to get the poor people to hate people so that they stayed poor. For me, it's a capitalist trick. Uh, Money doesn't buy happiness. It's not true. Money doesn't fix your problems. Yes. Money doesn't give you purpose in life. Yes. Money is not going to heal you from depression and anxiety and trauma. Yes. Although with therapy, it helps. However, money does buy happiness. It's going to buy you a good meal. It's going to buy you a holiday in the Bahamas. It's going to buy you no worries, no stress of having to pay your bills. Uh, no worries of having to pay your hospital bills, to pay the education for your kids, and so on and so forth. And so money is great. But some people want people to stay poor. So they create systems. They're going to create some mantras, such as the one that I just said. Money doesn't buy you happiness. Money is the root of all evil. And so because they say that, they look at rich people, or they're greedy, they're bad. It's true, that confirms it. So now they're thinking it's bad, it's bad. And because they're thinking that, they can never be rich. If you have a bad emotional relationship with money, there's a part of you that will protect you from being rich. And now we are talking about hypnosis and subconscious suggestions. This is literally what it is. Whatever you entertain in your mind, whatever that you believe, whatever that you say, whatever that you hear people say on television, in real life, is going to hypnotize you. Um, and so I understand where you're coming from, right? I used to believe that as well. I used to suffer from poverty and scarcity mindset for a long, long time in my life. And that's why it's important for me to talk about this like that. But money is not bad at all. What is bad is the attitude that people have with money because of X, Y, Z. So we're talking about psychology, we're talking about limiting belief, we're talking about trauma, we're talking about greed, and we're talking about some people. There are some people who have no empathy. And so they are the problematic people in society, and they have designed society as such. People who are at the top of that society, they tend to also lack of empathy. So they don't care about others, and that's why it's easy for them to exploit others. It's easy for them to lie to others. It's easy for them to try to always gaslight everyone by coming up with things like money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't buy happiness. All of your problems are because of the foreigners, the immigrants, the people who come from boats. It's all because of them. All of your problems are because of the trans people. All of your problems are because of the fat people. All of your problems are because of people who are different. It's because of them. And it's just not true. I hope it makes sense, Stone. Can you see what I'm trying to say here? Genji, it feels more like you are guiding me, giving me what I need to help. But I have to actually figure out how to apply everything. Of course, yes, precisely, yes. I'm not doing anything. You are doing the work. You're just remembering some of the things that we talked about, and you are going to decide to put it into application or not in that moment. It's always you who are in power. B.R. Brandano, De Petrolio, How to Overcome Treachery. What do you mean by treachery? What do you mean by that? In order to not make it personal, do you objectify people as a mass or individually? So first, we don't want to objectify people. The problem in this world is precisely because we're objectifying people. People are people. Objects are objects. A tree is a tree, a bird is a bird, a person is a person. We're all vastly different. One of the reasons we suffer so much in this society is because of that. We're objectifying people. And also we are generalizing things. We are over compartmentalizing and shortcutting everything. Everything is either right or wrong, good or bad. And very often people say, the youth of today, Gen Z versus Gen X. And it's not like that. You can't put everyone, millions of people in the same bag. It's just ridiculous. And it's something like men, they're all like that. Women, they're all like that. It's just so intellectually lazy to generalize. But we do this all the time because society is teaching us to do this. Um, if you know about George Orwell's novel 1984, he came up with a fantastic concept called the novlangue. So I don't know, because I've read that book in French and English, so I don't know if novlangue is the French or English word for that. But basically, it's the idea that they control language in the sense that they are getting rid of all the words that are poetic, but are not necessarily. They are trying to make language as simple, as black and white as possible, so that our thoughts are as black and white as possible. And it's actually happening. Uh, if you look at the way the Chinese language has evolved, even the way it's writing is becoming more and more simplistic. And there's a part of this in that. Um, but what I'm trying to say is that we don't want to fall into that trap and keep generalizing and putting everyone in the same bag or objectifying people. We never want to do this. Unless we want to live in the illusion of the ego. It's me versus the world. I'm better than them. I must conquer and vanquish everyone. And as long as we do that, we're going to have a very poor, limited human experience. Because the human experience is about us making the most of what we are. And what are we? We are pack animals. We live in herds. We need other people. We are people's people. We need to connect with people at a deep emotional level, as opposed to exploit them, manipulate them, use them, control them, dismiss them, dehumanize them. Um, we want to reinforce the connection as opposed to reinforcing the division, the separation. So let me read again. In order to not make it personal, do you objectify people? No, I don't objectify people. If you don't want to take something personal, we can't talk about this. There's a lot of systems. But what do you mean by this? What is it that you don't want to take personally? You said treachery. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm starting to see your mind. How do we not take personally someone that is betraying you, right? Okay, let's talk about this. If you don't want to take personally a betrayal, you need to change the belief that you have about betrayal. Betrayal is a myth, just a belief. Uh, it's a belief that is born from the expectations that people owe you something. Because we are all born in the same place, because we had the same education, because we know each other for a long time, because we have my family or my friends, I deserve for them to be like that, and I will do the same. It's like an imaginary code of conduct. And as long as we believe that, we will expect something from them. And when we don't get that thing that we expect from them, we feel betrayed. And so the disappointment is born from the expectations. The, the betrayal is born from that idea that people don't change and they must follow what I expect from them because I said so. And this is what you want to change. In reality, we all change. Some people will be loyal to you. And if they are, it's a good thing and you want to appreciate it. But if they don't, accept that. What is it that would make them? Why would anyone be loyal to anyone? It's all a pack of belief. It's because they believe that this is right, this is wrong. You share the same belief. But then what we don't realize is that many people have different beliefs, but also people change. And there's so many reasons as to anything happen, as to why anything happens. We can't simplify things again by thinking they have betrayed me because they're bad, because they did that. And they're bad because they don't follow what I believe is good or bad. So we forget that we are not the center of the world. We are all very important. We all matter. but no one is that important that they are the center of the universe. And we forget that it is that simple. So I'm not saying it in a malicious way. We all I used to be like that most of my life. Some people will stay like that all of their life, and it's just our experience. We're all different, and it's okay. But this is the truth of the matter. We forget that we're not the center of the world. We forget that we're all different. We forget that because I think the way I think, it doesn't mean that everyone must think the same thing. Because I believe what I believe, it doesn't mean that everyone has to believe the same thing. Because I feel the way that I feel, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to feel exactly the same thing at the same time for the same reason. Because I want this, it doesn't mean that it will happen, and if it doesn't happen, that's bad. It's a belief. A lot of problems are just based on limiting, toxic, and even unrealistic belief. So this is a belief here that is very common. Because I would do that to them, they should do that to me. Otherwise, they're bad and they must be punished. And it's not true. It's just a belief. We must accept, we didn't do it because of factors that I don't even know about. But because I have compassion and I have understanding of the human nature, I don't need to take it personally. I wish them the best. If they have let me down, I may not want them in my life anymore because maybe we're not on the same wavelength at that point in time, and there are millions of people, and I don't need to spend my life with people with whom it's hard to be with. Well, there are people with whom it's much easier, and I'm going to choose those people instead. Does it make sense? Does it answer a question? B.R. Brandano? Pumpkin Puff. That's true. It was a treasured feeling, but maybe I can work on experiencing more. I love animals and they need help since humans destroys the environment. So again, you are generalizing here. Some humans do, but not all humans do. Some humans are very good at creating bridges and other paths and whatever. Some humans are very good, David Attenborough and some of them, Greta Thunberg, Zach Polanski. Some humans are very good to be good with nature and with animals. And so, again, to make your life easier, remind yourself that all sort of people. And it's not about thinking in black and white. Humans, they destroy the planet. It's not true. Some people do, but a lot don't. And many do because they don't have the choice because of the ones who are in power. However, many people are trying to change the system so that over time, all of this gets better. So look at the good side, look at the good people, and that will start to make you feel better about yourself. And most importantly, as we talked about, as you take those actions yourself, as you're trying to save more turtles on the roads now, you have become those good people. That's what that matters. Adam Lucas, how can people develop thick skin, not taking things personally, or being overly sensitive and emotional in a sense? And it seems those traits are considered quite negative in a lot of workplaces. So first and foremost, whatever is considered negative in workplaces, it doesn't matter. What matters is what works for you, right? Workplaces come in all sorts of different sizes and shapes. Some workplaces are better than others. Some workplaces are toxic. And so be aware of that. So that you can choose a place where it's easier for you. It's a big word out there. You don't have to stay stuck in a place just because you're there if you're not happy there. And then, how do we develop a thick skin? We don't. Some of us are more sensitive than others. So what we can do is to realize that we are sensitive, and so we can choose a better environment for ourselves. I am hypersensitive to life. I am hypersensitive to people. I am neurodivergent. I overreact, I overthink, and it's my brain. It's the way I'm designed. It's the way that I have developed over time because of my trauma, because of my genetics, because of the things that I've experienced and witnessed in my childhood. And so this is me. I can upgrade some aspects of it, and I have. However, there will still be always an element of me that is sensitive, and it's not a bad thing. In society, people are trying to repress people who are sensitive because they want everyone to stay in line. Again, I talk a lot about capitalism, patriarchy, and all those things. But in reality, we want to now embrace the new era and appreciate that we are all vastly different and we can all belong and contribute to society just by being ourselves, without having to put a mask, without having to repress some part of ourselves. And so you don't have to develop a thick skin. You can stay sensitive. However, you want to choose the right people you're hanging out with. If I see some people who tell me, oh, you must be stronger, I will just smile. I will go my way, and they are not my people. I let them live their life, go through their journey. It's their thing. It's got nothing to do with me because I no longer want to suffer from things like toxic masculinity, amongst other things. And so, how can we develop a thick skin? If you really want to develop a thick skin, you can, but you do this through emotional repression, through self-loathing. All the parts of you that are fragile, you will actually bury them, and you will suffer from that. And you don't want to do this. Now, there are different ways to look at it. This is one side of the equation. There are ways not to take things personally, but this is for me. Uh, this is a different conversation. I don't see it as thick skin. If you don't want to take things personally, you don't need to have thick skin. You need to be mentally flexible. So instead of being strong against something that is bad, you want to open yourself to the other direction, which is better. So basically, you don't take things personally by realizing that whatever people say is not true and it's got nothing to do with you. When we take things personally, it's because there's a part of us that believes that what they say is true. So now we are hurt, we're wounded. How dare you say that about me? But if we don't care about what they say, it doesn't matter. And just like that, not taking things personally anymore. Now, of course, it takes time, and we're all different. If you have a history of trauma, a history of neglect, it's going to be much harder. You will have to require more effort and intent to make this change happen. But it's still possible. I used to be super insecure. I used to take everything personally all the time. I used to be obsessed with what things, with whatever happened, with what people said, with what people didn't say, with how they looked at me, with why they didn't look at me. Everything. I was constantly obsessed about this, um, and it was terribly unhealthy. But I was very mentally and emotionally unhealthy, for sure. Anyway, and so yes, this is a whole different conversation. I wanted to really address the thick skin thing. Um, if you want to stop taking things personally, however, all that you need to do is to really remind yourself that we all project our own insecurities all the time. When people are saying things about you that are harmful, they're not, it's not because you deserve those harm, those criticism, those negative comments. It is because they are seeing in you things that they don't like about themselves, and so they're projecting, and it's got nothing to do with you. So you can change the meaning of what they said. When they say something bad about you, you can tell yourself, it doesn't mean that I am bad. It means that they're projecting something about themselves. It's got nothing to do with me. It's not because of me, it's because of them. If you can give me an example, a specific example, I'll be happy to demonstrate how we can do this specifically. Genji, I feel silly when I can hear you repeating what I should do in my head and still sometimes sit. It takes time. I guess it's more of that push that I need. I'm sorry I'm typing poorly today. You don't be sorry, you're good. You're not typing poorly. I understand everything. It's taking time. It's happening. So instead of thinking, oh, tell yourself it's happening. It just takes time. So we talked about it a few times. Now I want you to make this your mantra. It takes time. It takes time. It's fine. We're going the right direction. It takes time. Keep saying that to yourself. And already you start to feel better. And next, once you feel better for a long period of time, then you'll be able to take that action. You can't take the actions because you don't feel better. And you don't feel better because you keep on thinking, oh, it's not good enough. Tell yourself it is good enough. I am good enough. I'm doing well. I'm healing. I've come a long way. It's getting better all the time. I will go up and down on my life, but it's okay. I'm doing my best, and my best is good enough. And it takes time. It's okay, but it takes time. Okay, Genji? Genji, correct. Why would I be bored of you? Absolutely never. Thank you. Genji, you are why I am here. I was a complete mess. Not that I'm not a mess anymore, but maybe less so. Okay, then I'm trying. Well, less is a progress, is good. I'm happy with that. Spiraxis. My context is toxic clients, family members. Toxic clients, family members, okay, who spend more energy trying to push buttons or do harm emotionally. Some I have gone no contact with, others I cannot avoid, all act as if you don't exist. Should say clients and family. Okay, so if someone is toxic, two solutions: either no contact, avoid them, which you have done with some people, and some of them you can't. So it's easy. if people are toxic with you, but you can't avoid them for whatever reason at this point in time, then you want to remind yourself, why am I in contact with them? What do I get from that relationship? And think about doing this. It's a transaction. You're just focusing on that transaction happening without emotional judgment, without emotional attachment, associations, reactions. And so if someone was, there are things that you can do, and I talk about all the time, and it's called boundaries. Set boundaries, and then if you can't get rid of them, do your best not to react to them. See them not as a person, see them as a transaction. And so the example that I can give you is that if I was at work, if I need to work, there's only one work available in the village where I live. There's no one at all. There's one job position. And if I don't work there, I'm going to starve. So I've got to do this. If I don't do this, my children are not going to have food. So I've got to do this. So I'm going to go there. People are toxic. I'm not going to take it personally. I think I'm here because I need to make money. As soon as I can leave, I will. But for now, I'm getting something out of it. So I need to play the game. Without thinking is not fair. Without thinking they are an a-hole. It doesn't matter. You need that. So you have to do what you have to do. It's like if you were in prison and you had a prison sentence to complete, you have to complete that sentence. There's nothing you can do about it. So you have to play the game. However, you don't want to play that game forever, because otherwise that will ruin your mental health, that will ruin your life. What you want to do is to realize, maybe at this point in time, I have to meet them to see if there's something I can do about it. But at some point, I want to elevate my life so that I don't need to ever see any of those people anymore. So that's the long-term project. In the meantime, accept that this is what you have and practice gratitude by focusing on the things that you get out of that connection, out of that relationship, out of those efforts that you're making just to be with them because you don't have the choice at the point in time. Does this help, Spiraxis? And you say, others, I cannot avoid, all act as if you don't exist. Here's the thing, it doesn't matter. So if they act like you don't exist, fantastic. If you don't like them, I don't exist. Okay, same thing. Tell yourself, I don't exist for them. Why should I care? Why would their opinion matters? Why do I need self-validation from them? The opinion, I don't care about it because I don't like them. They're hurting me. I don't care about what they think. What they think don't matter. The opinions that matter to you are the people who are good to you. Remind yourself, this is purely transactional. And it's only momentary. And so the opinions really don't matter. Is that what you meant, Spiraxis? Does that help at all? Pumpkin Puff, do you know how to help with rejection sensitive dysphoria? Yes, absolutely. It's a huge part of what I do. So the way that I do it when I look after people is through hypnosis. Again, through the process of hypnosis, we go back into the episode of the past where we have created the RSD, where we have created the insecurity, where we have created the fear of rejection, the fear of being judged. And then my job is to upgrade that belief from the subconscious mind, and just like that, bang. After that, we keep on working to reinforce that you have it. But this is how we address deeply rooted negative belief that we have about ourselves. Um, Now, there's a long road, and again, it's different for everyone. But this is how I would address it. When people come to me with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, overthinking, negative self-talk, and all those things, we use precisely RTT and hypnosis to fix this from where it stems from. And it's the same with the fear of abandonment when it comes to BPD, for instance. So yes, I know how to help with rejection sensitive dysphoria, and this is how I do it. Now, if you want to tell me, if you want to ask me how can we deal with that in a different way, we can talk about this as well. But I will need you to give me more information, because rejection sensitive dysphoria is just a label on a belief that we have about ourselves. So if you can give me what is that belief that you have about yourself, if you can find out what is it that you think that makes you feel the way you feel whenever you're experiencing rejection sensitive dysphoria, and we can talk about this. Dawn, money doesn't buy happiness, but it does help. Again, so some people can't get their head around this, and it's okay. The way that I see it is that it can buy happiness. However, happiness is something that doesn't last. People believe that if I buy happiness, then I'm bulletproof. It's not like that. You can buy happiness. Just like before the live streams, my husband went downstairs and get us some ice creams. He took some money to buy the ice creams, and I had it. And for 2 minutes, I had happiness in my mouth. I felt happiness in my body for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, the time of the ice cream. And so this is how money does buy happiness. But if you think about happiness like a state that is constant, as in safety, purpose, abundance, love, no, of course it doesn't. This is not happiness. The problem is not money. The problem is the definition of happiness. I hope it makes sense. But if you really, really disagree with that, it's also okay. I don't mind. Sometimes we use words and thoughts differently, and it's okay. I'm just trying to share how I see it, and I hope that you can see some things that you may find useful for your perspective, to bring back into your own perspective. Jiki, hello. Adam Lucas, what books would you say have influenced or impacted you the most? Do you have any certain book recommendations or list? I've got tons of them, but it depends. I believe that there's no such thing as the best book. There's only the best book for you at this point in time based on what you need the most. So I don't know what you need the most. The book that has helped me the most, um, there's one here. It's called The Four Agreement. It's a very small book. It's a very simply written but beautiful book, and it's got four agreements. And when this came out, it really saved my life in many ways because it's what I needed then, because I was aligned with it, because I was. But this is exactly what the most important thing that I was missing in that moment to move up. So I mean, a lot of things has happened in my life, but this is just one of them that I often think about because it's such a simple book. So basically, the idea of that book is that there are four agreements. They are not rules, not rules of life, not dogmas, not you must, otherwise you bad. They are agreements. You choose to agree on that or not, it's up to you. But they are not anything that you want to force. It's something that you want to learn to explore and understand when you are ready for it. And basically, the four agreements goes like this. The first one is you must always be impeccable with your words. So choose the way you say things, but also the way you think, because your words are thought as well as said. But in the context of the book is that whatever you say is going to create repercussion of consequences. And so in that sense, choose to come from a place of love, talk from a place of love, as opposed to from a place of gossiping, judgment, belittling others, or spreading negativity. Agreement number two, don't take anything personally. And this is the one that I needed. It's so simple. But it's the one that I needed because I had a lot of aha moments in my life, a lot of epiphanies. But precisely at the moment, this is just what I needed to read. Just that. Don't take it personally because it's got nothing to do with you. Which kind of correlates with the things we talked about in this live stream till now. And so check that principle number two. Agreement number two, don't take anything personally. Number three, don't assume anything. So we tend to assume whatever's happening in other people's bubbles because we forget again that we're not the center of the world. Because we believe something doesn't mean that everyone believes the same thing. Because we think and feel something doesn't mean that everyone thinks and feels the same as well. And so finally, number four, always do your best. And in the context of that book, what it means is always do your best with the other three things. So always do your best to be impeccable with your words. Always do your best to not take things personally. Always do your best to not assume. And maybe always do your best to do your best. But that's pretty much it. And it's that simple. And when I read the pre-words, which is basically what I've just read to you, in that moment, I changed already. In that moment, my whole outlook on life has changed. So I did get the book and I did read it. And it's a great book. It's a little book that is very simple, but it's beautifully written. It's based on ancient Toltec wisdom. But the magic to me happened when I read that. I didn't need to read the book. I read it because I enjoyed it. Um, and so what I'm saying is that it's not the book that changed me. It was the synchronicity. It was my alignment with that idea precisely at that point. And all of those things created a change in me. But it was not the book. Very importantly, because we put so much importance on books. What is your favorite book? What is the magic system? What is the course that changes everything? There's none. There are tons of them, but the only ones that will work for you are the ones that you are ready for in this moment. I hope it helps. But again, Adam, if you have something specific that you want to ask me, I may be able to recommend you some books that I know that talk about those topics. Adam Lucas. Also, are workbooks or journals sufficient enough to help heal CPTSD? So, no, nothing in and of itself is sufficient to do anything. Everything is the result of many things. Nothing in life happens because of one reason. Everything happens because of many things, all culminating in that moment, all together for one moment. And so we need to expand our mind. Again, there's not magic system, it's not this or that. It's everything. And the bigger the picture you can have of yourself, the more you can understand what would be your priority at this point in time to go in the better direction and change. Right? So workbooks, journals, they're great. So as so many other things. But we want to get out of the idea that something is sufficient. Nothing is sufficient. Everything matters. Your the way you look at things, practicing mindfulness, but also the way you look after your body, sleeping, eating, uh, moving, all of those things, they all matters. They all add something. Just one thing is never enough. Um, but at the same time, we don't want to go on a rampage, on a mission to fix everything. Your life is a journey. So learn how to understand those things and to add some new habits every day to kind of um, get everything to go in the same direction eventually at some point. And so, are workbooks or journals sufficient enough to help heal CPTSD or social anxiety? No. Some workbooks or journals, like shadow work ones, have promises around how much they will change your life. They're just promises. People will say all sort of things to say other stuff, and the law has different way to regulate or not those promises. But um, but no, when you see people online, when you see products online, if they say this is for you, if they're just trying to sell the things, it may work, but it also may not work. There's no guarantee in life, especially when it comes to mental health or personal development. Um, some workbooks or journals like shadow work ones have promises around how much they will change your life. Yeah, there are promises, so you need to take it with a pinch of salt. Adam, but then they don't really change your behavior much. That's because you are falling into a trap. They promised it to you, and now you believe them. And now it didn't happen, and you're disappointed because all along you had some blinkers. You only looked at that portion of the things instead of realizing the bigger picture that I just explained before. Adam, look, I think that's a very good conversation. It's very important to realize that the reason why so many people struggle is because of that black or white mentality. It's really about expanding your understanding of yourself in this world. Adam Lucas might be considered as an illusion of progress. How can people with ADHD and executive dysfunction still live, get things like work, self-care, study, cleaning, or so on, without access or denial or medication? There are a lot of different systems. It depends. So we can talk about this, but we don't need to do everything either. So I mentioned it briefly, I think, in the past. But I have ADHD, for instance, and I know my limit. I know my priorities. So you want to delegate. You want to find out what are your strengths, and there are things that you can't help but to do. So the first thing to realize is that instead of forcing you to do something that your own body and mind are already resisting, you want to let go of the resistance by letting go of the pressure, by letting go of the stress, by letting go of the tension, which is essentially, I have to. Find ways to minimize your exposure to stress. Sleep well, eat well, move well, socialize well, meditate well, walk, spend time in the sun, in fresh air, in nature, do all of those things and more. Do things that make you happy, listen to music, sing, dance, be creative, watch movies that are funny, that makes you happy, whatever it is. Do all of those things. Minimize your exposure to stress. And the more you do this, the more you let go of the pressure. I'm wrong. I have shame. My life is not how it should be. I should make them proud. I should impress everyone. The more you get rid of those things, the less stress, the less pressure you have. And as a direct result of this, because you're subjecting your nervous system under less tension, you will have less symptoms of ADHD, less executive dysfunction, less procrastination, less inability to focus, less forgetfulness, because you'll be more at peace. So that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do everything. It only means that you will be more comfortable choosing the selection of priorities that you can do. Right? You will still have the things that comes to you naturally, which is your passion. You don't need to think about it. But like me, for instance, I was talking about it on Wednesday. I'm very messy again because of ADHD, but my husband is very tidy. He's on the autism spectrum. And for him, everything needs to be in order, arranged, and methodic and predictable. And because of that, we used to have a lot of clash at the start of our relationship. We've been together for 21 years now, but at the start, I was seen as the lazy one who was taking advantage of him because I would never do any cleaning. And it's just that I couldn't. However, over time, I have developed the skills of doing three things. There are three things that I do that are important to me to demonstrate that I'm doing something. And because I want to do this as well. So it took me some time. I had to let go of the stress and pressure, but also I had to get myself to apply that new system. And so basically, I wash the dishes, I do the bins, I do the recycling, and that's it. I don't even do my desk; it's full of stuff. I do it when it is unbearable. When it's full of mountains of stuff, then once every 6 months, 6 months, boom, I'm a tornado. I spend 5 hours doing everything, and then it's spotless for 3 days. And then we're back into a cycle. But it doesn't matter. I don't have to do everything. I understand that this is my limitations, this is where I am, and my energy, my focus is much more needed into my work, my books, my content, my clients, my live streams, those things that matter to me, and also my life. Going to the gym, enjoying myself, all of those things are so much more important than doing other things that people deem important that are not important to me. And so, on one hand, you want to realize that there are things that may not need to be a priority for you. You don't have to do everything. Just do whatever you really need to do. I don't need to do my washing because my husband likes to do it. I would do it otherwise. I love doing it. It's easy enough because at some point I don't have clothes, so I need to do it. It's that simple. ADHD makes us do things when we have no other options. Right? Um, but yeah, there are plenty of ways to look at it. But it's also possible to expand your ability to do things that are not necessarily things that you want to do. But for this to happen, you must look at your whole self at a general level once again. Minimize your exposure to stress, both external stress and internal stress. That's how we do this. Pumpkin puff. I do tend to put people all in one or two baskets. I hear so much bad news, so it's hard to see people in a positive way sometimes. It's the habit. So, we all do this. I did that as well. But healing, in order to heal, we must expand our mind. We must expand our level of awareness. We must see things differently. And so, this is one of the very good exercises we can use to expand our mind with. Instead of looking at people as good or bad, try to see more about them. Imagine their life, imagine the background, imagine the things that you have in common. And already, just like that, you can connect with them, you can see so much more, as opposed to just judging their behavior, their looks, the way they sound, the labels, the gossips. None of those things are going to be helpful. The reason why we have labels is to precisely not to go further deeper into the character of someone. So when you see someone that is like, let's say, homeless people, for instance, people who are living in a very safe and stable environment, who have never experienced homelessness, if they see homeless people, they will judge them. They think, oh, they're dirty. And they may be also scared of them. I don't feel safe when they're around. But if they could actually speak to any one of them, they would realize they're just human beings like me. They didn't have the luck that I had. It's not their fault they look like that. It's not their fault that they fell into addiction and they are now behaving like zombies after years of being addicted to very hard substances. It's not their fault. But this is the exercise. And this is why I always preach compassion and empathy. Empathy is expanding our perspective by putting ourselves into other people's shoes. And this is how we start to see people as individuals. We see their potential. We see their history of hurt and trauma. We see also how we can help them, as opposed to seeing them as good, bad, inferior. Yeah. And I was talking about it just before. It doesn't have to be just about mental health. Anything. So often on social media, I see people putting stuff about all men are like that, all women are like that, all lefties are like that, all right wings people are like that, all old people are like that, all young people are like that, and it's just so stupid. I want to say stupid. I mean low in intelligence. It's so lazy intellectually to just put everyone in the same bag. But we don't do it on purpose. I did it as well, like everyone else. And this is what we want to get out of. We want to learn about, yes, expanding our level of awareness through empathy. There's something called dialectical thinking, and this is it. More than one truth can coexist. It's not just this or that. It is this and that and that and that. There's so many more things. And the more we do this, the more interesting life becomes as well. We understand others, we understand ourselves, we understand the fabric of society and humanity. And it's actually quite fascinating and very enriching to go down a rabbit hole. Um, my husband has been, so pumpkin puff, my husband has been reminding me more that I'm seeing things as good or bad. Yes, because you have BPD. But for example, you will have a positive intention, but I will see it as negative, of course, because you haven't yet been able to upgrade your program. So you have some systems, some filters inside of you, and this is what we call the belief system, that are going to interpret things, are going to give a meaning, are going to give a flavor to a situation. We don't suffer from reality. We suffer from the reality that we have created based on the meaning that we have given to that situation. And so, for instance, if you think about a picture, if I think about a picture and I look at a picture maybe of some people from my past, that will evoke something to me. But it's just a picture. If I show the same picture to someone else, they may not feel anything at all, or they may feel something totally different. All experiences are emotional and feeling based, and so um, uh, and so this is where the work is at with you, with everyone, is to change the filters, is to change the perspective, is to realize that there's no such thing as one reality. There's only the reality that we are forging for ourselves based on the filters that we have created each other. So we want to find out which filters needs to be upgraded, to be discarded, to be replaced. And I understand I used to be splitting as well all the time. All my life was black and white, like hardcore black and white. I mean, like anyone who has trauma or BPD. And so I get it. But if you're like that, it's normal. It is because you haven't healed fully yet. You're still carrying those things. So keep working on yourself and things will get better eventually. It's possible. Van Mina. Sorry, my battery went off. Thank you for your always good advice. Thank you so much, Van Mina. Adam Lucas. There's a bit of a paradox between intentions and outcomes. A monkey can see a fish in the water and want to save it by bringing it up to a tree, which would kill the fish as the outcome. So the only problem is that we believe that there is a connection between intention and outcomes. There's only coincidence. It's a correlation, not a causation. What we want is only one thing. What happens is down to zillions of things. So again, we're back into that place where everything happens because of many things. And we are not the center of the universe. Because I want something, because the monkey wants something, doesn't mean that it only means one thing, that I want that thing. It only means that that monkey wants that thing. It doesn't mean anything at all. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's going to be good or bad. It just means that this is what we want, or this is what the monkey wants. That's it. So the moment we can separate all of those aspect of your conversation, we can realize that there's no problem. Apart from the idea that I'm the center of the world, and because I have an intent, now this is going to happen. The intent is only one part of the equation. It is important, but it's only one part of it. If we think that just that is enough or not, then we are minimizing, we are having a very narrow perspective of things that will be detrimental to our growth. Does it help, Adam? Does it make sense? Adam Lucas, wouldn't wait, that is Spiraxis. Good advice. Thank you, Spiraxis. Adam Lucas, which makes it a bit difficult to grasp a situation like that from a morals or ethic perspective. So easy. As I said, all what you have to do is to expand your mind and to learn how to see things from different perspectives. See perspective from you, see that perspective from the monkeys, see that perspective from the fish, see the perspective from the sky, from God. Try to see things from a different perspective, and that will give you a better idea of the greater picture. And what could happen, or what you need to do in order to get closer to what you would like to happen. Spiraxis, that's great, spot on. Thank you, Spiraxis. Adam Lucas, Spiraxis, I can definitely relate to that kind of situation with family, especially. Sometimes family might not even mean to be harmful to you in some way, but end up doing or being so out of ignorance. Yes, yeah, true. Adam Lucas, happiness might be just something you experience from moment to moment, not as a constant state, and can be the relief of pain or discomfort. A little high here and there for me, it was nature. Yes, I agree. Happiness is just a moment, and it can't be something that is constant because nothing is constant in the universe. It is that simple. Nothing lasts forever. When people say, I don't like happiness, I prefer inner peace, because happiness doesn't stay. Inner peace doesn't stay either. Nothing stays forever. Your suffering, your pain doesn't last forever. Your happiness doesn't last forever either. Nothing does. Your inner peace doesn't last forever. We are constantly creating states and experiences, and this is all part of us being alive. Pumpkin Puff. The rejection sensitivity, I used to be a people pleaser, but I'm working on it. If I offer something and it's denied, I feel my heart sink, never ask again, I just do what others do. I sometimes feel like I don't really know myself, but maybe I'm only interesting when I mirror others. Yes, because you have BPD. Everything that you say is actually very, very common with the symptoms of BPD. I too, I didn't know who I was. I had no sense of self at all. The only thing that matters was for me to do my best to be loved, to be liked, to be seen, to be appreciated. I would be fake, I would be lying, I would be doing anything just to be appreciated. I would say the most stupid things, and I had no personality at all because I was in constant state of survival. My personality don't matter. What matters is that I survive, that I'm not left alone. And so I totally get it. This is BPD for you. You can change this, but it's normal at this point in time. And if you feel that your heart is sinking because something is denied, this rejection is also totally normal when you have BPD. And then I'd rather not ask because it's better for you not to take the risk anymore than to feel rejected ever again. Absolutely normal. It's very sad, but it's how it goes. Adam Lucas, how do you know the difference between having rejection sensitivity or social anxiety or both? Rejection sensitivity is specifically in regards to when people, of how you feel when people are rejecting you or saying no to you, or the perception of they may potentially reject us. So we are obsessed with that, and we are very super sensitive to that. Social anxiety is more of a general fear of being outside, the fear of being judged by people at a general level. There's a slide. Then you know what? I think the best way to do this, very simple. If you don't know something, do like me. Go on Google. Use AI. It doesn't have all the solutions, but it does understand quite a lot of things that can be helpful. So I'm going to put RSD versus social anxiety. Rejection sensitive dysphoria and social anxiety both involves a painful fear of not being accepted. However, social anxiety is an anticipatory fear of being judged by others in social settings. Conversely, RSD is an intense, sudden emotional crash, like profound shame or anger, triggered by perceived or real projection, criticism, or failure. So this is it. So this explained much better than I. I'm going to read it one again so that I can remember how to explain this in the future. Thank you for the question. RSD, which is rejection sensitive dysphoria, and social anxiety both involve a painful fear of not being accepted. However, the difference is that social anxiety is anticipatory. So we are, so we have an apprehension of being outside, fear of being judged by others in social settings. Whereas with RSD, it is the intense and sudden emotional crash and shame that we feel when people are rejecting us or giving us the impression that they will reject us. That's it. Adam Lucas is meaning something. Just a second, please. I need some fluid in my throat. Adam Lucas is meaning something we are naturally just look for before making decisions or practices and ways of life, or is it more so the other way around, where we simply live and meaning accompanies us over time? This is very, very, very difficult for me to understand. Could you rephrase this, please? I'm going to try this one more time. Is meaning something we naturally just look for before, does that make sense to me, making decisions or practices and ways of life, or is it more so the other way around, where we simply live and meaning accompanies us over time? I think I'm getting something. You know what? I can't guess it, but it's using a lot of my brain power. So I'm going to save it for other stuff for now, and I need you to help me out and to make an effort to rephrase this in a way that is easily understandable for me, please. If you can do this with some commas. I know that there are two things. There's a dichotomy here. Is it meaning something that we do we function out of meaning, or does meaning come after? Is it what you mean? Could you confirm this with your own words, please, Adam? Kitty, cat, fluff, puff. Didi, have you ever considered giving up meat and dairy for the animals? Yes, I have. Please consider it. I have. Because animals want to live and we don't need to kill them. You're such a peaceful person. Yes, I have. I used to be a vegetarian for 2 years. And I was considering going vegan. However, I stopped because of some personal reasons. So at this point in time, I'm not able to do this. I do have meat and fish, but I'm very careful about the sources and the amount. However, I do it for my health for also different reasons. Um, and my husband is vegetarian, and most of our best friends are vegans. Um, However, at this point in time, this is what is easier for me. I am plant-based. I'm very mindful about what I eat, but at this point in time, it's easier for me. I may change at some point or not, but it's about what we can do at this point in time. And for me, having that level of awareness and doing what I do is already good enough for me. It may not be good enough for the animals that I'm eating, but what we want to blame is the system. When the system changes, it's going to be easier for everyone to do more. But it's very important to realize that we're all doing our best, and for many of us, this is our best. If some people do a veggie Monday once a week, it's still something. There's an awareness. If some people are going to have more mindfulness about where they get the product from and how much they can have it, it's also very important. I do enjoy going out every now and then and have some vegan and veggie meals. I have no problem with that. But on a weekly basis, I need to have some meat, some eggs, or some fish of some sort. It's important to me. I could explain why, but you would probably counteract with other things. So I don't want to even go into that conversation. I don't think there's any need for that. But I agree with you. People who don't eat animals are better people than me. Vegans are better than me. Vegetarians are better than me because they are more able to be selfless. I understand, I accept, I totally get it. But at this point in time, this is what I can do. And I believe that my happiness is important because when I'm happy, and that allows me to do other things, and in that way, I contribute to the expansion of this world in my own ways. If I was restricting myself out of out of out of guilt and shame of killing other animals, then I will be carrying that guilt and that shame, and that will limit my powers to do the things that I do, but can help so many other people in so many different ways. and even animals. And so I hope that we are meeting in somewhere. Kitty, cat, fluff, puff. But I also understand that a lot of people who are vegans actually have some emotional wounds. And that's why it's so important to them. So I respect that. I understand where you're coming from. Pumpkin Puff. If someone says they had good intentions, how do I override my thought past the trauma mind and be able to see it from another angle? You don't have to. You don't have to. It doesn't matter what they say. If people say they had good intentions, what matters is how do you feel at this point in time? What are you ready to do? What is your nervous system allowing you to do? If you feel safe to realize, you know what, maybe I can envisage a different perspective, then do it. But if not, it doesn't matter if I had good intentions, I don't feel safe. And your safety matters. So you can only do whatever feels right for you at this point in time. And this is a journey. You don't have to force yourself to accept anything if you don't feel like it. That's what I'm trying to say. Everyone has good intentions. When Adolf took over many places in 1940s, he had a good intention. He really believed that the Aryans were a better race, that it was a great idea. He really came from a good intention. So there you go. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel about it and what you can do about it. Maybe there are some here. I'm exaggerating and dramatizing things. Maybe people are genuinely not trying to hurt you, and you are taking it personally out of insecurity, and that is absolutely true. I was there myself. But what matters is what you can do this month. Um, so it depends. Again, everything is contextual. Um, but because I don't have the context, the main guidelines that I would share with you is to listen to how you feel and what you can do about this in this moment to minimize the experience being negative to you and others around you. Adam Lucas, at Kitty Calf Fluff Puff. I'd be curious as to how you get enough protein and fats without meat and dairy. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. We're all different. So these are all different conversations. Please, guys, let's not get started a vegan versus meat eaters conversation here. Those are endless. When people talk about this, they're not talking about the science. They're just talking about my belief is better than yours. So on one side, don't eat animals. On the other side, eat animals because you are designed to eat animals. This is both sides suffer from cognitive dissonance. It's not about the subject. It's not about the science behind it. It's about I want to win. I want to prove you wrong. Because in reality, if you look at the science, it's possible to have a very good diet, both either just animal, no, with animal food or without it. It's absolutely possible. The reason why I don't do it is there's a long list of reasons that I don't want to get started here. But it's not about uh, the belief that if I don't eat meat or dairy, I will miss protein. It's not true. There are tons of proteins in veggie foods. Um, so I'd be curious as to how you get enough protein and fats without meat and dairy. I've stopped meat, but no dairy or eggs is hard to do because of nutrient deficiencies. So you come from so you have tried. So I want to make sure because there's so much fight going on. So you come from a place of wanting to really understand vitamin B12. That's it. Learn about nutrition. Have a lot of pulses and beans and lentils. Learn there's so much food out there. Meat is only one portion of it. So learn about nutrition, learn about nutrients, learn about how your body absorbs them, learn about the combination of them, how they're optimized within other food groups, and so on and so forth. And take some vitamin B12. And that's it. Genji, I feel like I have notes from you on this exact question that Pumpkin just asked. I still struggle with it though. Okay? It takes time, right? Remember this. Kitty, calf, fluff, puff. Hey Adam, for me, protein has never been a problem. I get it from tofu, yes, vegan, meat, beans, chickpeas, avocado, nuts, seeds, protein, smoothies, absolutely. And some other sources. I don't know anything about fats though. Fats is everywhere. Avocado has got some fats, olive oil is fats, nuts has got some fats, you get plenty of fats. All the best fats are actually from veggie foods rather than meaty ones. But again, if you have a good health, if you don't have any condition, and if you don't have too much of it, it's not bad either to have animal fat. It's all about everything. Um, Bigger picture, once again. Mr. OCD said hi. Hello, Genji. BPD brain is like perpetually living in your trauma. Yeah, but you can change this. Um, Adam Lucas, how would you define enlightenment or being enlightened? It depends for everyone. It's just a word, so it can mean many things to different people. For some people, that'll be just a realization of something big. So typically, enlightenment could be the realization that there's something bigger than us, God, the universe, quantum physics, whatever, those other things. Alternatively, that could also be the understanding of ourselves, realizing that I have an ego, I have a limiting belief, I can practice metacognition. That creates enlightenment. But very often, enlightenment will be experienced in a shift of belief. So if I believed, let's say, all my life, I can never have success, but suddenly something is happening and proving me wrong. Now I am enlightened. I can create success. I didn't know that I could do that. It's amazing. We can feel it. I think enlightenment is a concept that comes with an immense feeling that is basically uh, getting us to experience that concept in feeling energy. But again, it's a term that is overused. I mean, it's not overused, it's used a lot. So that's why I'm saying it can mean so many different things depending on who is using it. Enlightenment is just putting a light on something dark. Now it's enlightened. Just that, right? But there's no fixed definition to those things. It's really about, again, who is saying it, where they're coming from, what sort of context they have in their mind. Adam Lucas, Kitty Cat Fluff Puff. That's awesome. Yes, I try to get some fats and protein from chickpeas, pumpkin seeds, nuts, peas, and varieties of foods like that. No tofu yet, and vegan meat depends if organic. Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. So I was not sure. I see so many clashes of meat eaters versus vegans. I'm glad that we are more or less in the same sort of side. Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Kitty Cat Fluff Puff. Adam Lucas, things like a raw vegan, however, make it even more difficult. Yes, it's true. Spiraxis, I see what you are saying, Adam, about family, maybe not knowing what they do, but it was in this case long-term, deliberate, and something they took open pleasure in, complete with gaslighting plus grins. So this is between you. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I have an idea here, but I haven't found that conversation, so I'm going to move on. Unless you ask me something directly, Spiraxis. Adam, meaning as in sense of purpose. So what is the question about the meaning and sense of purpose? Do we need a purpose in life? Is that what you mean? Or does the purpose comes along? Um, I can answer that question. There are many ways to talk about this. So on one hand, we can say the meaning of your life reveals itself as you walk that path. So for some of us, we have an idea of what we want, what matters. Some of us, we are from a very young age, we're obsessed about something. We know that this is what we want to do with our life. But for the vast majority of us, it will reveal itself as we go through the path. So we don't need to have a meaning. We just need to walk that path. But also, there's a broader picture than that, and we can realize that we don't actually even need a meaning. Um, because we talk about animals, and I want you to think about animals. They don't need a meaning. They're living the moment. They're reacting to whatever is. They're making the most of whatever they can make the most of until it lasts, and that's it. And we should do the same. We suffer because we need a meaning. We need a meaning that makes sense. We need a meaning that fits the belief that we have about ourselves. That's why we create discrepancy, stress, pressure, questions, confusion, and a lot of it. And in reality, we don't need a meaning. We just need to be present. We need to be here. We need to accept that this is it. I can practice gratitude for what I have. I can want more as well. But I don't need to have a justification for my life. I don't need to justify my existence. And it's the same idea as worthiness. People believe that they're not worthy because they've been told that they have to do something in order to be worthy. They have to display something in order to have worthiness. It's not true. We are worthy by virtue of us being here. That's it. In the same way, life is enough as it is. This moment is enough. We suffer because we believe that there's another place that is more important than now. We suffer because we believe that there's another place where all our problems are going to be solved. And in reality, there's only ever been now. And so, again, healing, mindfulness, all of those things are about this. It's about realizing that you don't need a meaning. At some point, it will come out and it will be interesting for you, but you don't need to have a meaning. If you feel that you need to have a meaning, it's as if you felt that you needed to do something in order to be loved, to be accepted, to be worthy. And this is not true. This is one of the biggest and hardest, longest lies that we all share. We're all worthy, and we don't need a meaning. We will find a meaning when we think about it at some point. And it's not a bad thing to have, but we don't need it. We need to stop justifying our worthiness. We need to stop justifying our existence. We need to stop justifying ourselves. There's nothing to justify. We're here to live, we're here to experience, to explore, to discover. And we all do that. We all do our best with whatever we've been given. No matter what start we had in life, no matter what genetics, no matter what trauma, no matter what belief we inherited from our parents, we're all doing our best. Literally every single one of us, we're all always doing no more or less than our best, and our best is good enough. It's not enough when we're looking at things from the perspective of the ego. This is not good enough. I want to be perfect. I want to be loved more. I want to be looked up to by other people because I need external validation or any of those things. And those are all lies that we need to get rid of. Kitty Cat Fluff Puff. Adam, yeah, I do not recommend a raw vegan. A lot of people don't do well on the raw diet. But again, generally speaking, people who do those diets, they do it because they have a mental reason to do that. So it's not just about the diet. But it's true that we can. I think the best thing to do is to be flexible and mindful, and do what we can based on where we are at this point in time. And that will be enough. Spiraxis. The reason I say this is because they themselves made out they never did anything, now would take responsibility. So the thought that it may be an oopsie here on their part was from their playbook. Breaking out of the gaslight is what made me kindly not have them in my life anymore. Okay. So I'm not sure. I'm following the conversation, but I understand you had grown your family, and now you understood some things, and you are no longer reacting to them in the way you did back then. Right? So it's a good thing. So thank you for sharing this. Pumpkin puff. I think eating less meat is something to celebrate. Yes, people should adjust their diet. I'm glad. Another one. I'm glad that the people around here seems to have more compassion. It's important to have compassion for animals, also in the way we eat. I agree with that totally. I think eating less meat is something to celebrate. Yes, people should adjust their diet as they need, but you are still positively making an impact by eating less meat. Yes, absolutely. Um, what matters is that we do our best. And again, we're all limited by a system. I believe that in the near future, when we create synthetic fake meat, I may just have this. I'll be happy with that. So yeah, things are changing. Adam Lucas, what are your thoughts on the practice of celibacy? Can celibacy ever be practiced without sexual repression or suppression? It depends. It depends. For some people, it works. For some people, it doesn't. If you are asexual, then it's super easy. If you are not, you can still be living on your own, but have some sexual encounters with people who are the same wavelength. You can have friends with benefit. There are all sorts of ways to get by in this life. Considering it's a natural drive in humans a lot of the time. So again, you're generalizing everyone. All different. And this is the only problem. All the questions that you ask, Adam, can be simply answered by that. We're all different. So all cases are different. For some people, celibacy is a good thing. For some others, it's not a good thing. For some, it's going to be easy. For some, it's going to be difficult. It depends. I believe that we should all try different things and find out what works best for us. And that's it. And not judge others or try to tell them what they should do. Kitty Cat Fluff Puff. Hey Didi, thank you for giving me your perspective. I'm not trying to fight or argue. Thank you. I was just answering Adam's questions. No bad vibes here. Fantastic. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Pumpkin Puff, we are all animal lovers here. Yes, Genji. One baby step at a time. I will change. Thank you, Didi. Thank you, Genji. Pumpkin Puff, I fear losing the ones that I love. I think a lot about how broken I will be if something happens to them. I understand that it is a control issue. Yep, yep, it is. Uh, yeah. It's hard not to think about things that you don't want to think about if you are still living with trauma and baggage. So I get it. So this is only a side effect, a result, a consequence of your main problem in your life. And so realize this. Realize that your main problem, your main priority is to address your BPD or the trauma or whatever that you know has started all of those things. Everything else is the natural adaptation of any aspect of your life to that momentum. Uh, Anyone wants to ask me a last question before I go? It's 8 o'clock now. I can stay 1 or 2 minutes more if you feel like it. If not, I'm going to make my way out, as I always do, gently. Um, Adam Lucas, what helps you, by the way, get good sleep at night? Sometimes people experience insomnia. It's a big topic. So insomnia is a very big and important topic, and I will talk about it next time if you come back, please. Insomnia again is a huge thing. There's so many parameters and factors, right? And I actually have had problems of insomnia all my life, so I can really talk about it from a sort of different angles. And so, if you have interest in that, Adam, thank you for the conversation today. That was great. Do come back next time that I come here. For everyone else, if you don't know me yet, I come here live on YouTube every Wednesdays and every Fridays from 6 p.m. UK time at this point in time. And I stay up till 2 hours if it's busy as it was today. And so if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I, I am very active both on TikTok and YouTube. And also, if you need more details about me as a therapist and coach, because this is what I do for a living, then there's a link to my website on my bio. Other than that, if you have any comments, any requests, just ask me on my post, on my content, on that live stream. And hopefully, I'll see you next time. Uh, Again, sometime next week, Wednesday or Friday from 6 p.m. UK time. And also, one last thing for those who don't know me, all of my live streams are to be found the following day on my channel. So again, if you enjoyed this and if you wanted to retrieve some information by tomorrow, YouTube would have had enough time to upload my live stream that I've done just now, and then you'll be able to replay it if you wish. So, okay. Let me read the last comment. Um, Pumpkin Puff. I agree. It just hurts when I think about it. Okay. In that case, we'll talk about it next time. Okay. Kitty Cat Fluff Puff. How are you feeling these days today? I'm feeling good, thank you. Uh, there was a situation a few days ago where I was overwhelmed by it, like so many of us in the UK, because the houses are not designed to deal with heat, summer, and happiness. So it was really, it affected my sleep, it affected my thinking. But now it's getting more chilled and I'm adapting to it. So things are much better. Thank you for asking. Spiraxis, happy Friday, Didi. Thank you for your time. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much, Spiraxis, and same to you. Genji, I hope you have a great evening and weekend, Didi. Thank you so much for your time today. Till we talk again, my friend. Thank you, Genji. Pumpkin Puff, thank you, Didi. Have a lovely weekend, and I hope you can enjoy the weather, even though it's hot. I do enjoy the weather. Yeah. It's only indoors, but it's complicated. But outside, glorious. I go in the daytime and nighttime. My best times are summer nights. I really enjoy the feel, the smell, the sensations. So yes, very happy. Thank you. Um, Adam, thank you, Didi. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, Adam. Do come back next time. And if you can remind me of the insomnia, sleeping problems, next time I will talk about it in great length. Okay, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching up to the end. And I'll see you next, either on one of my future live streams or content posts or whatever. Okay, guys, love you. Have a great day, great night, wherever that you are. Remember to be kind to others if you can, and if you can't, at least be kind to yourself. Bye bye now.